So everybody, welcome back. So we're going to begin our class today. Today we will be speaking about meeting resistance to what is with kindness and an open heart and open mind. Essentially, how to deal with the emotions that arise when we resist what is. Whatever circumstances or situations in our lives that don't go maybe the way we want, or and how we resist or push against the current reality of the moment, whether that is driving and encountering traffic, whether that's fighting with a friend, whether that's this morning for me, my dog barking too loud early in the morning. However, we encounter resistance. And by resistance, I mean the resistance within your own body when you encounter an outcome that is not favorable in your opinion or in your choosing. So for example, and it's usually based on expectations. So to go with the example of my dog barking in the morning, my expectation is that it will be a quiet morning. The neighbors will be sleeping because I wake up very early in the morning. And so this morning, for example, the weather was so beautiful. And so I opened up the large window and just kind of let the air in. And my dog loves to stand by the window and bark, kind of saying hello to everybody, right? And so that's kind of a little too early. And so there comes that expectation that I may have in my mind of, I get a vision of like, okay, this is how I want the morning to be. This is how I want the day to be. And then when we encounter reality manifesting in a way that is not how we want, then there's usually some sort of response to that, whether it's through our thoughts or our emotions. And so to watch, how am I responding to what is? How am I responding to what I'm encountering? And so, so obviously I use every moment as a teaching. So I use this morning's barking moment as a teaching of noticing, okay, where am I feeling this in my body, right? What am I feeling? So in that moment, it was frustration, right? Because I'm training him actually not to do that. And so I was kind of frustrated and I'm like, oh man, I was kind of washing dishes. So I had to like run to the window, to make him stop so he wouldn't wake up everybody. And so there we go. So there's that emotional frustration. And so noticing, okay, where do I feel that? I feel it in my belly. And identifying what is the emotion. And then this is the part that I would like us to work on today, which is relaxing with the present moment. Now, I often speak about accepting what is. So I like to go a little deeper into that. When I mean accepting what is, it doesn't mean that I accept him barking, at 5 a.m., waking up everybody on a Sunday. It means accepting that I feel frustrated. It means accepting the frequency within my body at that moment and allowing myself to experience it without reacting, right? So I accept my response, right? I accept what I am feeling and I move through it. I like to think of emotions like a river, like water. And so allowing the water to stream down the current and welcoming it, not rejecting it or pushing against, but allowing it to be what it is, right? With gentleness. And sometimes it's easier than others. This morning was not an easy one, right? Because I really wasn't expecting that and I was half asleep too. So so I wasn't expecting that. And so I began to, okay, let me relax with the present moment. Let me identify how I am resisting what is happening. So then I have the choice to let go of the resistance and allow what is here to be as if it belongs here. So in that moment, there is the thought of, I don't want to be mean to my dog and move him out of the window and put him back on his little chair. All these different thoughts that might occur, of this sense of I choose to be this way, or I would like the situation to manifest in this way. And so at one moment, what came to me, and that's what I would like to really share here, is let go of thoughts. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen this movie. If you haven't, you need to see it, The Matrix. And in The Matrix, there is this part where, oh my God, I don't want to spoil. It's a spoiler alert, but I'm going to say it anyways. Right? So in the movie, there's this part where there's all these little guns, bullets coming at Neo, and Neo just kind of looks at them, and he realizes it's an illusion, and they drop. And so that's the same thing that I'm talking about with thoughts. When you begin to notice this stream of thoughts and all these different emotions and situations, like, can I just drop them? So I thought, let me just drop them and breathe. So then I thought about Ramana Maharshi and his teachings around thoughts. And one of the things that he speaks of is letting go of thinking, letting go of thoughts, because they are often a cause of, they are the things that keep us away from experiencing ourselves as peace. So I often speak of the observer, the part of you that is in quiet peace and stillness. Our thoughts arise like waves, and we often believe we are our thoughts, right? So in that moment of frustration, I'm believing Anna Maria is frustrated. Anna Maria is frustration. No, it's a wave of emotions and thoughts. I am not frustration. The core of me is not that. So the quicker that I can realize who I am, the quicker the illusion falls off, like the bullets in the movie of The Matrix, right? They just fall off. So there are many ways of going about this teaching of how we encounter resistance. And so I wrote a couple of ideas as to how to go about it. There are many roads that lead us to Rome, right? And there are many roads that can lead us back to peace. This is just one of them. It's one that I've been working on, and it's helping me so far. And number one is to notice what is happening. So when we notice, we become aware of the observer. We become aware of the part of us observing what is here and now as it is. In that noticing, we must not judge, right? Because like, for example, for me in the morning, when I saw my dog doing that, it's very easy for me to come into judgment of myself, of I don't want to be mean to him, because I'm feeling in this way, right? And so I come into judgment or judging him, for that matter, he's a dog, right? And so noticing, letting go of judgment, right? And the letting go of judgment involves seeing the thought of judgment and shifting it to the side, almost as if it was a cloud, right? The other component that really helps is to slow down. Why slowing down? Usually our body, depending on the situation, has different biological reactions to what is going on. So like our adrenaline might rush, for example. Like at that moment, my adrenaline rushed because so early in the morning, there literally is no noise, outside. So I don't want to wake anybody up. So my adrenaline, went off of grabbing him and sitting him down so that he doesn't wake anybody up. So the slowing down there would help my body soothe, right? My body relax. The other component is relaxing. So how can I relax into what is? How can I relax to the current reality? So for example, relaxing into disappointment, relaxing into anger, relaxing into frustration. Again, that doesn't mean that I am allowing myself to think that it's okay to feel that way or to think that it's okay to do a particular situation. So let's say like you're having an argument with someone, right? And you have the feelings of anger or resentment or whatever that might be that comes up in your body. Those emotions are coming up to tell you something needs to be transformed, right? Something can be different, right? And usually what it is that we want peace, right? That we want things to work out, that we want harmony, that we want balance. And we all have different ways of how we picture that manifesting. But in its essence, it's just this sense of, I don't want to resist. I want to be in a state of allowing and a state of peace, right? And so can an emotion provide a message of, I want something to be different? Yes, right? So we notice and we slow down and we relax and then we let go. And letting go means whatever the emotion might be arising in you, can I allow myself to breathe it out? Can I allow myself to receive the message that this emotion is giving me and then release it? So the emotion of anger, for example, often has to do with boundaries. It didn't this morning. There was a boundary I'm setting up with him, which is don't go to the window and bark early morning. He was crossing the boundary, right? So the response would be anger or frustration. So then at that moment, I can notice the anger and I can notice the frustration and say, oh, that is the message that this emotion is giving me. Thank you. Release it, right? Or at least begin the process of it, right? And then we enter what is called allowing. And allowing is an interesting state of awareness because it's the state between the letting go and the allowing of a new emotion to arise or a new state of being to arise. So for example, going with the same example of my dog barking in the morning, I want to feel at peace and I want to make sure my neighbors feel at peace, as I don't want to be disturbing their sleep, as I don't like my sleep to be disturbed. And so I was in this state of letting go of the frustration and coming into a state of peace. So how can I arrive to a state of peace? Well, making peace with what is going on, that would be one. And two, choosing to think a different way. So at that moment, I thought of thoughts that allowed me to relax. So he's a dog, right? He's my baby. He doesn't know better, right? So thoughts that soothe the way of thinking, thoughts that soothe the feelings, so that I can begin to allow what is underneath it all, which is peace. There is peace at the core of our being. There is peace at the core of who we are. When we are still, when we are in silence, where we are in deep quiet, we encounter the state of who we truly are, which is really what I teach here, is how to be in a state of peace. And the best way to arrive at that is with kindness. So being kind with yourself when you're not there, being kind with others when they're not there, and making peace with what is, and slowly relaxing into what is, and slowly allowing yourself to remember, I am peace. There is peace here. I like to think of it when you get into the car and you think of a destination that you're wanting to go to. If my deepest intention, my destination is peace, then I will find myself there. I will find a way there. And out of the different list of items that I just mentioned, that would be the most important. Let my intention be to be at peace, no matter what the circumstance. That I can be in the midst of chaos and sadness and grief and anger and frustration and helplessness and find myself back to me, find myself back to peace. Peace is that important. It is the state of who you truly are. And the best way to encounter that, that I have found, is through meditation and through the practice of silence and stillness. And so this is what we are going to do now. So I invite you to, we're going to begin our meditation now. So finding a comfortable position to sit or lay. I'll go ahead and do that now. And I recommend that you allow the body to be still. So once you find a position that feels comfortable, don't move, okay? And that is to, I'm also going to do the same. that is to invite the body to relax into what is. Right? So we close our eyes as we begin our meditation today. And with the eyes closed, we allow the body to find stillness, to invite stillness. Resisting nothing. Noticing the way the feet feel in this moment. Simply allowing yourself to be with what is. If there's an itch, allowing it to be there. Any sort of sensations. Simply observing in this moment, noticing what is here right now. And beginning to slow down. Allowing the awareness to rest on the breath. And the way the inhale and exhale is felt in the body. Noticing the rise and fall of the breath. Perhaps softening the belly and chest. Inviting the breath to flow with ease. Inviting the body to be at ease. And as we do that, allowing the body to relax. Relaxing the toes and the soles of the feet. Relaxing the tops of the feet and ankles. Relaxing the lower leg and the knees. And the thighs and hips. Relaxing the pelvic floor. And the lower belly and lower back. Allowing the muscles to relax. Letting go of holding. Allowing the body and the breath to find comfort. And relaxing the upper belly and the chest. Relaxing the throat and neck. And the left shoulder and the left arm, wrist and hand. Relaxing the right shoulder, the right arm, the right wrist, hands and fingers. Relaxing the whole neck and the back of the head and the crown of the head. Relaxing the face, and the ears, and the jaw and tongue, and the nose, and the eyes and the eyelids, relaxing the forehead, and sensing the energy within you relaxing, as if you could feel the sensation of peace deepen. Noticing the space between sounds, and the spaces of silence. Allowing whatever sounds arise to be as they are, and noticing the inhale and exhale, and the spaces between the inhales and the exhales. Relaxing into the quiet, into the spaces between thoughts and sensations. And allowing your awareness to rest, perhaps allowing yourself to let go even further, as if a gentle wave of peace was coming through the crown of the head, relaxing the whole body from head to toes, deeper and deeper into a state of peace and calm. Sense yourself held by space, by the peace and calm that surrounds you. And begin to sense yourself walking on a beautiful trail, sensing nature all around you. And finding a space where you can sit and simply be. Perhaps recalling a place in nature where you have felt peace and calm. And sitting in that space now. And sensing the body as it is in this moment. Deepening the state of peace. Sensing the spaces between sounds, between thoughts, and deeply relaxing as you notice them. Finding peace with ease and effortlessness as you notice the silence and the spaces between thoughts and sensations. Calm and peaceful. Relaxing even more deeply with every exhale. And sensing the wise self within you, a part of you that knows who you are and why you are here on earth. And sensing that wise self with you as you breathe and relax. Perhaps still allowing this part of you to give you peace in this moment, to give you insight and wisdom. Noticing the space between the breaths. And allowing yourself to relax even deeper as you notice them. And sensing the wise self within you. The part of you that is at peace and stillness in this moment. The part of you observing you breathe and being. And beginning to sense yourself returning into the now moment. Allowing awareness to return to the body and the sensations of peace and calm in the body. Noticing the exhale. And allowing the fingers and the toes to begin to gently move as we begin to transition from our meditation back into the place where we now are. Noticing the peace and the calm that is here now. As we begin to gently open the eyes and return into the body, perhaps gently stretching or moving it. And fully coming back into this present moment, ready for the day ahead or the evening of sleep ahead. And perhaps you may notice as you return the sense of stillness and calm. Can I stay in this space of quiet, even as I observe my thoughts and the experience here now? And I allow myself to return to this place of peace as I move through the day. As I go through life. Tere, hi honey.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. One.
Thank you for the meditation. I felt very deep peace. And then in finally getting there, calming the mind and feeling and thinking nothing. And
Yes.
all of a sudden, a phone call came in, and like it was an interruption. I feel like it was kind of like life, like a problem comes up and you lose your peace. And I just, as my mind started waking up when the phone call ended, I tried coming back to find the peace, and I felt like it took me longer to get there than initially when you guided us to feel the feet, the legs. I tried doing that, and when I finally started coming back to the peace, it was time to come back and end the meditation. So I think it's like life, you know, like sometimes you feel balanced, you're at peace, and then something comes up and your mind, you react, and you forget that the peace is always there. But I felt it challenging to come back to that deep peace that I was feeling.
Oh, I am so glad that you are sharing your experience with us this morning. I'm so grateful for that. Is there something else you want to add before I add my sense to
I,
it?
I, I wanted to add that right before getting to the place of deep peace, I started feeling a little bit of chest pain. Um, but then it disappeared. I acknowledged that space. And then I kept seeing the letter A all over like in the beginning of the meditation, little letters and really giant letter A. So I have to ask and see what that's about.
Oh man. Okay, beautiful. So there's a couple of things to add here from your meditation. One, I want to address about physical sensations. And it obviously depends, but sometimes there will be physical sensations that arise during our meditations because those are areas that are wanting to say something. Sometimes it's just like, oh, I want to move. Sometimes it's body memory that might be stuck in that area. I will talk more about that in other classes, but I kind of wanted to address it a little bit now. So when we encounter that, just notice it and then maybe go back on it on your journal writing experience, or allow yourself to encounter that body sensation with less resistance and more allowing and more encountering it with peace and relaxation. The other piece I wanted to add about what Tere mentioned is the whole point of meditation is to take it off the mat, or take how we say in yoga, take it off the mat, or take it off, your meditation chair. It's to practice it in daily life. It's to practice it when my dog is barking at 5 a.m., waking up the neighbors, right? And what the practice begins to be, it's not that we're going to be in this state of peace all the time. Life is happening. It's all right. But the more we begin to practice this sense of who we truly are, the more we allow ourselves to remember who we are, the more that we allow these states of peace to be more normal in our everyday life, then it's easier for us to jump back. Almost like jumping on a horse, it's kind of easier to just jump on it after you've done it several times. So it's kind of like that. So not resisting, but allowing the life that is here and choosing, as Tere was mentioning, go back to peace, right? So the phone rang, go back to peace. So my dog was barking at the window, go back to peace. And sometimes the trail back will be easy and sometimes the trail back will be harder, and that's all right. But allow the intention to always be to return back to how you want to feel. How do you want to feel in your life? We really have no control over circumstances. We have no control over the phone ringing. We have no control over the dog barking. What do I have control over? Myself, my state of awareness, my mind, my heart, my emotions. Practice that. Many great teachers across many religions and belief systems have mentioned this in one way or another. Mastery of self, by getting to know who you are, by knowing what are your triggers, what triggers the peace to leave. And how can I bring myself back to that, to calm? And very much you begin to do so. Right. Thank you, Ted.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, totally.
Right before when the meditation was starting, I thought, watch the phone ring during the meditation. So in my mind, I'm thinking, was that a feeling that I knew it was going to happen? Or was that me
Yes.
attracting that energy and self-sabotaging my meditation? So
It
I
was
don't
you
know.
feeling that it was coming.
It was
So,
coming, but but it still happened. I don't know. I wish I would have reacted differently or
Oh,
I
I
don't know.
think it was meant to happen. So let me get a little deeper into this. So the universe is aware of, in this moment, Tere is practicing to be calm and peaceful. Let's help Tere out. Let's have the phone ring. Let's have some sort of disturbance happen, right? Usually for me, for meditation classes, something occurs in the morning that helps my meditation class. I had something else I wanted to work on. This is what came up, right? And so the universe has a way of helping us, even when it seems that is not in our favor. Oh, the universe is always working with us. ¿Cómo que dice? Excuse my Spanish. Paulo Coelho is always mentioning, what if the universe is conjuring with you, for your happiness and for your joy, and it's helping you. So in this way is we do need something to disturb our peace so that we can find ourselves back to peace, because that is the teaching. How can I bring myself back to peace? Right? Slowly like that. Does that make sense, Daddy?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. That was a great segue into our class today. Elena, and then Celeste.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Again, my meditation was a little similar to Tere's. In the beginning, there was a disturbance, and I floated away from the meditation in order to deal with it mentally. And I was thinking, what do I do? Why am I feeling these feelings? I was actually working through what we were meditating. So I felt like the purpose of the meditation was to figure out why I react like this, what to do. And I followed all your steps, and everything eventually did work out. And I realized something about myself. Intuitively, I found an answer as to why I react in that situation in the same manner. So I felt I could be kinder to myself in that situation, and it worked out. And it was just a matter of like 2 minutes. And then I continued on with the meditation. And there was a portion where you said, um, I'm listening to your words, and you ask us to ponder. Well, actually, your higher self. Ask your higher self your purpose for being on this earth. And that's always a question that we all want the answer to. And I found myself not fully connected, not being completely still. And that brought to mind, because my knowing and my intuition, even though my body was relaxed, my knowing intuition knew I wasn't really still. So I think sometimes we need to really ask ourselves, what is stillness? I know I have felt that sensation where my knowing and my intuition know that I am actually still. My thoughts are floating away. I have no thoughts. So I thought that was an important question maybe for me, or maybe to ask ourselves every once in a while, are we truly really experiencing stillness? And then that thought floated away during the meditation. And I saw myself as an observer, and I saw myself as like a leaf in the wind, enjoying the wind, floating around, letting go, letting the wind take me where it wanted to take me, and just enjoying that, not being in control. And then I saw myself fall to the ground on the street into a puddle. I saw darkness, and it was actually a tire running me over. And I was still okay with that because I knew that the sun would come out, dry up the water, and the wind picked up again and picked me up again. And this time I was a little worn and lighter. And the wind actually picked me up, all damaged from the rain and the tire. But I flew higher because I was lighter. And I don't know, it's kind of like a metaphor through life, enjoying it while in different stages.
Oh, thank
And
you.
and I also got a phone call to interrupt, so that's why I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm gonna end
that's
it there.
beautiful.
But
Sure.
But yeah, so thank you for this. Thank
Oh,
you for allowing me
thank
to
you.
share.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I value what you're saying. I also wanted to add to what you mentioned about stillness. I'm grateful that you asked that, because it does help to clarify further what we mean by mentioning stillness. So essentially is stopping. So stopping movement, that would be one way of beginning to practice stillness. So I love the imagery of if we are made of energy, which we are, right? So we have all this like atoms and neutrinos and all kinds of different names they're calling them nowadays. But just you're made of energy, right? And so the energy is moving like this. So when we're coming into stillness, we're softening that. That's all. We're softening it. So we can soften through our breath. We can soften through intention by allowing the body to relax. We can stop, when I mentioned at the beginning of the meditation session, to not move physically. In many meditation traditions, this is mentioned to find a comfortable position that allows you to remain awake and present. I think that is key, and it's also key to not be moving around, and because it allows the mind space to ground and to center. So that's important, even if it requires taking a couple of moments or minutes to settle down physically before we come into the different stages of consciousness and slow them down. That's also key. So practice with that as far as stillness is concerned. And I invite you to actually discover for yourself, what does stillness mean for me? So that would be a wonderful question to journal write about. And thank you, Elena, for bringing it up. What does stillness mean for me? How do I arrive to stillness? And can you deepen stillness? Of course. Can you deepen a state of peace and calm? Of course. I think that very much as scientists speak that the universe keeps expanding, so do I believe that we keep expanding our awareness of what peace is and stillness is, and ourselves, right? So think of how we expand our definition of who we are in the present moment. Tomorrow might be different, and so something to meditate on. Thank you, Len. Celeste? We may go over time just a little bit, you guys. I hope it's okay, but I want to answer Celeste. Celeste?
Good morning.
Morning.
So I guess that everybody had some kind of interruption, because we were practicing what you were teaching us to practice this. So of course, my stomach started like making sounds. I heard in the background like a child. Then my own child started making noise. Like every Sunday he does this, but this Sunday I smiled. I didn't get aggravated because
Good.
I'm practicing what you said. I went, okay, here we go again. But I let it go, because I think at that time you were saying like, look between the spaces of, between the sound and the silence. And it was like happening at the kind of at the same time, the sound. So I was letting go, and I'm like, okay. So, I was really, I dropped the effort, because I saw myself too, like breathing very strongly. And I'm like, okay, and I started letting go, like all the effort. It was something like different.
Yeah, that's another way of saying relax into it.
So then I started floating up, like there were some strings pulling me up, like swinging. And then I went back like to the ocean, and I was floating on the ocean. When you have your ears inside, you don't hear a thing. It's very quiet. Well, that way. And then I saw myself looking at myself, my higher self. So my higher self was telling me, like, I am an instrument of peace. and like reminding me what I was here for, light and peace and love. And then I was there for a while, and then they brought me up again. And this time I'm in heaven, and I was like kneeling, and there was like a circle of angels around me, uh, for guidance, protection, light. And then on the outside of that circle, it was beautiful because God came, then Virgin Mary, then the three archangels, and they were making a circle too, but on the outside of those angels. And then there were some saints that came, two of them that I know, and the other one I know, but I haven't read about her. It was Saint Teresa of Avila. I haven't read anything. I know little bits and pieces, but she was there, and I was surprised. I'm like, okay. So then they stay there, and suddenly they gave me a toolbox. And I'm like, toolbox? And then the toolbox was like the regular toolbox of a person that works, but then, and it was not pretty. And I'm like, what? Like, how, yeah, I know. That my true self came. I'm like, it has to be pretty.
It's gotta be pink or gold.
But anyway, no, then it transformed and it changed to gold, like gold color. And then I was like, ooh, I wonder what's in there. And then you started calling us to come back. And I'm like, no, I want to know what is inside the toolbox.
It's the funniest thing. I was getting that to call you guys back, but I'm aware of time too. So
yeah. So I opened the toolbox opens, and I'm trying to look desperately, like to see what it's in there. And I couldn't see anything, but suddenly a lot of light came out, like towards me from that toolbox. And then I started coming back down gradually.
okay.
Very relaxing.
I'm glad. So a couple of things, if I may. Go back to what the feeling was. So one way that we can figure out what these images mean is notice the feeling, the sensations that come with them. So even now as you're sitting here, so let's say you don't have time to go journal write, for example, right? And you want to still figure it out. You could just close your eyes for a bit and stay with the feeling of when I saw the angels and God and Mother Mary and the saints sitting around me or in circles around me. What did that feel like?
Okay.
What was the message that I received from that? And now when you saw the toolbox, what was the feeling that I received when I saw the toolbox, or the feeling that they gave me in reference to the toolbox? What comes to mind when I say that?
I was like, when it's like a gift that it's a surprise, like the toolbox, it was like, hey, I got a toolbox, like that happy feeling.
Good.
Then I looked at it and I'm like, but it's not pretty. But then I snap out of it. It was it was funny. It was comical. My reaction, because I was expecting it to be pretty.
Exactly. I love
Yeah.
that. You just said that. It's expecting the meditation to be pretty. It's expecting not to be interrupted. And yet, are there gifts, tools, okay, in being interrupted, in somebody calling us, in your son being loud, in my doggy being loud? Isn't there a gift in it?
Yes.
Yes, that's essentially what they're saying with that. There is a gift in it. Pause and learn, what am I learning from this situation? The universe is constantly working with us, teaching us, helping us to grow and become and expand. Everything that happens for a reason. Took me a while to accept that thought, because I like to test it out before I accept it. But for me individually, I'm not saying that that's the truth for everybody, but I do believe that the universe has circumstances occur to help us grow. And to help us enter into greater states of awareness, of peace and calm that we are. Yeah. So, and we do know. We do know, because the universe communicates with us in ways that help us to know why it is the way it is. Right? So even though you might not know what the tools are, it might be a surprise. Allow it to be a surprise how they're mentioning to you.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all that commented today. I'm deeply grateful. I know there were a couple of you that also had some commentary. You're welcome to email me if you like. My email is info@anamariapineda.com. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to do that. But we will be closing our session now. I would love for us to just take a moment to center as we step into the day, as we allow magic, as Katrina would mention, to return to our hearts, as we allow peace to return to our hearts. Let us invite the rest of the day to open and expand in front of us with the awareness of who we truly are, inviting this inner peace to be with us, noticing any interruptions or distractions or unwelcomed or unexpected situations to be as they are, and to choose peace. I am peace. I am peace. Let me remember that. And in finding it within myself, I may invite others to remember who they are. Have a lovely week, you guys. Many blessings to all of you. Thank you
so
for
much.
being here. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.